Born in Los Angeles, California, October 24th, 1900. No, excuse me, 1946. Now, after graduating high school in the year when Jesus Christ was graduating high school in 1964 and 1 year of college, he went off and he joined the Marine Corps in October of 65 and went off to recruit training at Camp Pendleton, California. Now, after aircraft maintenance school in Memphis, Tennessee, he was sent to Cherry Point, North Carolina. Now, if you've ever been stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina, you know that's the armpit of the Marine Corps Air Wing. It is, yeah, Cherry Point, North Carolina. Okay, from there, he went to VMFA 242 A6 Fighter Jet Squadron, which was ready to send an entire squadron of aircraft and personnel to Da Nang, Vietnam. This was after the full squadron, which would include personnel, planes, equipment, would fly from Cherry Point, North Carolina, Naval Air Station, Whidbey Islands, Washington, to Dubuque, the Philippines, and then to Naval Air Station, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. In late 1966, in VMA 242, they joined the 1st Marine Aircraft Wing at Da Nang Base in the Republic of Vietnam. In November of '66, he was participating in combat operations against the Viet Cong and the People's Army of Vietnam. Initially, the squadron supported Allied ground forces, but during April of '67, they were also assigned to the first of many Operation Rolling Thunder missions over North Vietnam. The squadron flew patrols over North Vietnam until the bombing became halt in 1968. That means that they were probably about to take it. During the squadron's tour of the Republic of Vietnam, VMFA 242. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that can't be made up. This is verifiable. They logged 16,783 sorties and delivered 85,990 tons of ordnance. During the war, the squadron was known as the Bats. But you ain't no bat, man. You're standing here right next to me. It was an encyclopedia, but I dumbed it down. After the 8th-month tour of duty in Da Nang, Vietnam from '66 to '69, Phil returned to duty at Cherry Point, North Carolina as the rank of sergeant. Sergeant is the backbone of the Marine Corps, hoorah. And he was assigned to military police. After 6 months of duty at the MPs, he was released from active duty in October of 1969. Phil finished his associate's degree at Correctus College in 1970, went on to work at the Prudential Insurance Company as a sales agent in Downey, California. He was promoted to sales manager and then manager of the same office in 1979. Now, after managing 40 sales agents, Phil opened his own insurance brokerage in 1984, which was specializing in employee benefit programs for small to mid-sized employer groups. In 1990, they opened their second office, which is still located here in Gilbert, Arizona. And after 54 years as a licensed agent, Phil said, "I've had enough," and he's retiring. And now the company's under the name of Employee Benefit Exchange Corp. EBX Insurance has been a member of the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce for 30 years. 30 years. And Phil and Constant, who is the new owner, are board members of the Chamber and leadership responsibilities. Well, the guidance based on our oath never ends. Phil focuses these days to support and volunteer. Remember what I said a minute ago that Marines have a hard time with asking for help? This guy will help you out. Support and volunteer veteran-related activities such as being the town of Gilbert. He's held several leadership roles as the chair of Veterans Day and Memorial Day activities, the chair of Veteran Wellness Committee, and after a term of expiration, he developed an independent, personally maintained veteran resource website known as Gilbert's Vets for Vets. This is a local specialty list of resources that are available to active duty veterans and their families that are in need of services that are available within the Phoenix and East Valley area. He also helps to mentor any veteran that is in need of these resources while transitioning from active duty to the 1st Civilian Division. Business networking or in need of health and wellness for themselves or their family members. So, at this time, this is the only time I can probably do this, I'm going to ask the real Marine, Patricia, to come stand next to Phil. Come on, Patricia. Now, and you're asking yourself, well, why would you do that, Nick? Okay, this is real. Okay, and we all know, like me, many of you couldn't exist. I couldn't exist without my best friend. So, 52 years, ladies and gentlemen.
52 years. Now that is a feat to be proud of, to know God.
Don't know where to start, except I believe you want to hear. At one time, I was a young Marine, went through boot camp, scared to death, went with my Marine Corps buddy, Amos, my brother. They promised us we'd see girls in San Diego and we'd be out every weekend. So we went. After boot camp and after AIT, we haven't seen each other for 3 years. Right? Actually 4 for me, but they got out in 3. But I want to talk to you about what it did for me in my life. I have to tell you, I don't sing karaoke and I don't do stand-up, so this is really tough for me. After AIT, they send you to get your MOS. My MOS was 6,300 power plants. I went to Memphis for my training, and from Memphis I went to North Carolina. They told us that we would be shipping out and going to Vietnam with our squadron of A6 intruders. Our motto was the Bat Squadron, Mors and Tenebris. This translates to death from the darkness. This plane, this A6 intruder, was only a couple years old at the time. It flew at 685 miles per hour at less than 500 feet off the ground. It was so advanced, they wouldn't let us even look inside the nose. This was the first computerization I've ever seen with an airplane. But this plane could loft bomb, and it would fly, and loft these bombs, come up, and the bombs would strike their target. It was an amazing aircraft. So we learned what we were doing. We flew out. As Nick said, we went to Washington State, Philippines, Hawaii, Guam, and then Da Nang. We all made it. We all learned how to drink and hold it. Luckily, they had oxygen in the cockpit, so we were able to jump in the cockpit and sober up before the next flight. Again, 19 years old. This was fantastic for us. They all got tattooed in Hawaii because they told us you better have something that they could recognize you by in case anything happened. So we took pictures of our tattoos and we sent those home. Our mission, they told us, was to locate, attack, and destroy surface targets by providing electronic warfare support. After I got off the C-130, landed in Da Nang, I got my package for orders. It said VMA 242 on the sign, and I held it up until somebody stopped. There was a 6x that came by and stopped. I got in the back of the 6x and saw, 5 of our soldier brothers in body bags on the way to the morgue. My first day. So I got to my squadron and started work. We slept in the airplane intakes for 18 months. We repaired engines, we plugged holes, we lost no plane. We loaded 500-pound bombs, we had cherry pepper bombs, napalm bombs, all for jungle and military targets and for clearing areas to get our troops out. There were several thousand sorties over the 18 months. And so over the next 18 months, I went from private to sergeant in charge of the flight line. We slept. Oh, my horse said that. That's where I learned the motto, always faithful. This is the motto of every Marine, the internal and collective commitment of the success of our battles and the steadfast loyalty to our fellow Marines, no matter what your job was. I was very proud of my service in Nam, and when I got out with 6 months left, I had infantry duty at Cherry Point, North Carolina. On the day that I got my exit papers, I was saluted by the CEO, and he thanked me for my service. But he also said, don't wear your uniform home. I had to drive back to California. He said, there's a lot of things going on, put your civvies on, and drive back. I didn't understand.
Scoot over. Your
microphone. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Okay.
We had no idea what was going on at the time. And so as I drove back, I found out why. Every town I went into, there were protests going on. My buddies and I reunited after my 4 years. But I want you to know we never talked about our service. Because of what was going on, we just didn't talk about what was going on and what we did. We just wanted to get back to work and get back in society. So we all stayed quiet. Right? Mr. Thomas? So, as again, Nick said, I started as an agent with Prudential. I went from an agent to managing 10 agents, and then I managed 40 agents and became the office manager of that office. 1984, I left Prudential and opened my own brokerage there in Longmont, California. And after a few more years, we decided we wanted to get out of California before the kids got too old. So I called my brother Tomas and said, we want to come to Arizona. We kept the office open in California, and we came to Arizona and kept the two offices going. What that meant was getting up at 2 a.m. on Monday morning, driving to California, working all day the next day, driving home at 2 a.m. and working here for 3 days. And that is what built the agency. Why did we do that? Why did I do that? Because we were taught by Staff Sergeant Hunt, my drill instructor, we were taught to adjust, adapt, and overcome. And that's why I did it. Not knowing that, but that's why I did it. 35 years later, after leaving active duty, here in the town of Gilbert, we put together the first Veterans Day event. Along with the high school band, we had kids from Settlers Point Elementary to hand out thank you notes to veterans. A young girl by the name of Megan came up to me and she said, "Sir," she's this tall by the way, she said, "Sir, are you a veteran?" And I said, "Yes, I am." She handed me a thank you note, which I still have today after 20 years, and I want to read it to you. This is her drawing of me. She's taller than I am. And she said, "Me, my dog, and you." And it says, "Dear veteran, thank you for serving for our country. Your bravery has given us so many freedoms in our land. Every day I have the opportunity to go to a Christian school. I can't imagine a day without the freedom you have fought for. I can't imagine the feeling of having to leave my family for several months or years and not knowing if you're going to see them again. Thank you again for serving our country and fighting for the freedoms we have in America today. In Christ, love, Megan."
Aww.
Beautiful, wasn't it? Megan's note hit home to me, and I realized after getting that note that I had done what I had done to honor those 5 that I met on that 6-5. I wanted to be the Marine they were. And I did that, not knowing, but I did that in their memory. Since then, we've done 20 years worth of Veterans Day. Every year, kids from schools write out thank you notes, and we give them to veterans, and we also take them to retirement communities and give them to the veterans. I wanted Gabe to read a couple of those, if you would.
Thanks so much. This letter by
Dear veteran, thank you for everything you have done for us we could never repay. Thank you for the risk and sacrifice you have done for us. Thank you for all the suffering you had to go through for us. You didn't have to, but you did. You do that because you are selfless, and a lot of people are selfish in this world. I hope and pray that God would lead you for the rest of your life. Love, Jesse. Another letter. Dear veteran, thank you for serving our country. You are so brave for going to war. This country couldn't be the home of the brave without you. Love, Izzy. P.S. Thank you for standing next to the flag with us.
Aren't these wonderful letters? For years, again, we didn't talk about our service much. For years, I didn't feel like I was a grunt and I wasn't a soldier. And for years, I kept it quiet and kept it to myself. And a lot of people that I've met over the last 20 years and handed coins to and handed cards to have said the same thing. Oh, well, I just, and they all said to me, but I said, we all took the same oath, as far as I know. We all wrote that blank check to give, if needed be. We didn't know where we were going to be sent. We didn't know what MOS we were going to have. But as it reads in Corinthians, for the body does not consist of one part, but many. If they were all one part, where would the body be? Each part is unique and each performs a task. There's no body part that could be considered insignificant. And that means that with 300 MOSs in the system, everybody's important, or there wouldn't be that many. The guy who supplied you with the ammo, the person who ordered that ammo, the person who was on the ship, the person who unloaded it, all of that was for our protection. So I tell people when they say, oh, I was just, you were a Marine. You raised your hand just like everybody else, and God bless you. So these are the things that I've learned after I realized the memory of the 5 people that I met that day. So I just want to end with this. God bless America and the United States of America. Thank you for your service, and thank you, and have a happy 249th Marine Corps birthday.
All right!
And to keep our honor clean, we are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.